Hi, my name is Frank Peck, and I'm here to talk to you today about the exciting times of trust deeds. Trust deeds have a great advantage in that they provide a lot of security and predictability, much like the banks do. We're going to compare, though, trust deeds to banks and see how it may benefit you in the things that we'll speak about here today. Usually the returns on a trust deed is going to be somewhere around 8% if you have a conservative trust deed. If we make some of those comparisons to a bank, say for a CD in a bank right now, I think you'll find that the returns at a bank is going to be anywhere between 1 and 2%. So as we kind of identify that as a starting point, we're going to see how this is going to benefit you. Safety. Whenever we go to a bank, most of the time the reason we're there is because it's going to provide some sort of safety, whether it's through FDIC or some other form of security with that safety. It also provides predictability in that they're going to tell you what rate of return they're going to give you on that money that you loan to them. And basically that's what you're doing when you go to a bank, is you are loaning them the money. So let's talk about this just for a moment. A lot of times people will say, man, if I could invest like a bank, you know, I'd have everything made, right? Well, let's just see how banks do invest. When you go to a bank and you loan a bank, let's just say that you loan the bank $300,000, okay? When you go in, that bank may tell you that the rate of return on this is going to be anywhere between 1 and 2%. In this particular case, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say that they're going to loan you 2% on the money that you loan to them, okay? 2% of $300,000 is about $6,000. So on a yearly basis, that's what you're going to get. But if that money was in what we call a certificate of deposit or a CD, you're only going to get that on a yearly basis. You don't get that on a monthly basis. So if you're looking for something to create some sort of monthly income for you, then you're going to have to look at other vehicles that may be available to you out there. So here you have a bank and you say, well, what I love about that bank is that safety, because guess what? In a bank, you're going to have something called FDIC, which is the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And they're going to insure my money up to a certain amount of money. All right? Predictability, you know already that they're going to give you 1 to 2%, and now you're going to be happy. Well, how many people today, you know, are in a situation where they have too much time left to live and maybe not enough money to make it to the end? Or you have a situation where you're trying to live on the money that's coming in every month, and because it's not sufficient, you have to make a choice. You know, do I eat or do I pay my utilities? Do I get my medication, you know, or do I make my house payment? A lot of Americans today are in that same dilemma. Well, when you go to a bank and we talk about how they work with their money, when you give them that money, you get a 2% return. You get a little piece of paper that says you're FDIC insured, and you walk out. Do you have any type of collateral whatsoever? Do you own the vice president's car? Do you own a piece of the building? You have no collateral at all. All you have is that little piece of paper and that assurance that if something goes wrong, that the FDIC is going to be there to help you along the way. Well, it is to provide some sort of peace of mind for us, you know, in the banking system, but you know, you may not feel that way if you really go and you study what the FDIC is all about, and maybe what they have in reserve to try to protect every dollar that we're putting away. So when you walk out the bank, you're happy. At the end of the year, you can turn around and reinvest that money, because guess what? In about 12 months or so, if that's the type of CD you put your money into, you're going to get your money back. Well, let's look at how they invest money. A little bit different than what we just did, right? So let's take a peek at it right now. When you walk into a bank, they also are looking for safety and predictability. That's what they're all about. But maybe they want a little bit more safety than what they're willing to pay you. Well, you be the judge in this. For instance, if you went into a bank to borrow $300,000 from that bank, instead of you paying 1 or 2%, like the bank was willing to pay you, you're going to pay maybe anywhere between 4 and 8% on that money, depending on what it's for, whether it's going to be for, you know, a first mortgage or a second trust deed, or maybe you're trying to buy a car, you know, or it could even be for credit cards. One way or another, that money that you loan to that they have now lent to you, they're going to charge you substantially more. So in this particular case, if the bank is getting 8%, that means that you're going to be paying, just with the interest, $24,000 a year. That's quite a bit of money. Not only that, in order to provide additional safety for that bank, is they're going to want something called collateral. Okay? Collateral. I had that problem a while ago, right? So they want collateral. In other words, they're going to want your firstborn child, they're going to want your house, your car, or some other thing that you own that they can sell in the event that you don't satisfy your ability to pay that back, right? So they want collateral. Well, why didn't you get collateral when you went and took your money to the bank? All right, so now let's talk about it. Here we go. Wonder if you could invest like the banks. Wonder if you not only could get a higher rate of return that is completely predictable, but quite a bit more safety in that. Wonder if you could also get that collateral, okay, to protect your money. Wonder if you can do what the banks are willing to do. For a lot of us out there today, that's kind of difficult, and it's something new for us to learn. Well, if we're able to do this on our own, all the power to you. But with American Money Group, you understand that we have associations with companies that have done this year after year after year for decades, and they've been able to help our clients. And this is what we call broker-managed trust deeds. And now I'm going to go over the advantages of this. You see, for most of us, when we're trying to prepare for retirement, there's several things that we have to consider. Something is called the smell test, SML. What are we going to need on a short-term basis, a medium-term basis, and a long-term basis? Well, one of the advantages you have with trust deeds is it meets all those needs. On a short-term basis, you see, managed trust deeds will provide you with monthly income, all right? So for instance, if you loaned $300,000, you became the bank and you loaned $300,000 to an individual that needed money, the average rate of return that you're going to receive is about 8%. But it's paid on a monthly basis. So 8% of $300,000 is $24,000 a year, right? But it comes out to $2,000 per month. And if you compare that to the $6,000 that you might have made when the bank was paying you 2%, and that'd be $6,000 a year, that comes out to about $500 a month. Big difference. And if you're trying to depend on this to survive, guess what? Trust deeds are going to be the way to go for you to invest like the banks invest, right? So let's go a little bit farther into this right here. You have broker managed trust deeds. And what happens here is that there is somebody willing to put up their property if you're willing to loan them money. And let's just say that there's a $1 million property, okay, that we're going to talk about here today. Well, if you went to a bank may say, we'll loan you up to, say, 80% of that property. That means you have to come up with $200,000 out of your pocket, and they're willing to loan you $800,000. Well, a bank thinks that they're pretty safe by that because there is that buffer of that 20% there that you had to put down, that $200,000. So in the event that if you are unable to finish paying off that note, they can turn around and sell that house. But what if the bank was willing to, what if instead of taking 20% down, what if the bank required a 40% down? What if they required you to put $400,000 down, and you see, and out of that, you only owed $600,000? Well, let me ask you this. If there was a house next door to you that was worth $1 million, just like your house, and it went on the market tomorrow for $500,000 to $600,000, would you not want to buy that house? In fact, there would be a line of people trying to buy that house for it. So how much easier would it be to sell that property? Well, see, with the managed trustees that we work with, we have anywhere between 50 and 60% on the average loan to value. Loan to value means how much money is owed on that property. And see, we never loan more, including the first trustee, that maybe 50 or 60% loan to value. So in the event that somebody is unable to pay what they owe you in return, that broker will turn around and they will sell that property, you see, at that amount, and be able to pay you back everything that you're owed. And most of the time it's going to cover your interest that you're owed, any other fees that you may have. You see, this is a way that you're provided that protection. So with a trust deed, you're able to protect your money, you're able to enjoy it at the same time because it provides a monthly income, and you're able to take this and have it grow over a period of time. And all of it is protected by a deed of trust. And that means that if you're willing to loan money without the purpose of buying it, you see, you create a deed of trust. And so when you loan that money to them, your name is now recorded and you're protected. Thank you so much.